Hello and welcome to the very first video on the Grimwood Watch Modern channel. In this video I'm going to be taking a look at this Heimdallr Sharkey SKX Homage watch. I'm also going to be comparing it to the almighty original, which in this case is an SKX 007, and I've also got my very own stealth modded 007 here, just to basically show you that a lot of the modifications that people like doing to the Seikos is already in the Sharkey to begin with, so a lot of value for your money there. Just to get straight into the Sharkey, basically I bought this because there's a lot of hype of the Sharkeys at the moment. A lot of people are buying them and saying they're a very good watch and the fit and finish is very nice and it's a nice alternative to a Seiko and you get the same look. So I went on the site and I saw this one and fell in love with it. They do an SKX which is close to the original, which has like black dial, you can get a white dial. The hands are the same as the SKX, the dial is slightly different, but basically it's an SKX. This one, however, is basically melding an SKX with a Submariner Hulk, which I love because I love the Hulk. I just won't pay 12 grand to get one. So we'll start off with a few of the specs. This one's running a NH36 movement, which is obviously winding and hacking, which is a upgrade over the 007 and 009. Moving on, we have that lovely starburst dial there with the Sharkey logo on and Divers 200. I will get back to that in a minute because it's not ISO. I'm just going to point that out now. Moving on, we have got your Mercedes handset, they're obviously matching to the style of the Hulk. We have a brushed aluminium chapter ring there with indices marked on it, and then we have this very nice green bezel insert there. One thing to note, which is something Seiko cannot do, the actual bezel insert, chapter ring and dial line up. Look at that, that's amazing. You know, Seiko just put that out, and you know, the dial chapter rings 9 times out of 10 of all the watches I've got from Seiko have been out of whack and I've had to open them up and actually correct them because I'm very anal like that. But with this one it's not the case. We also have Sapphire Crystal in here, which is yet again another upgrade over the Seiko Hardlex Crystal which you get in the SKX range. So just off the bat, this watch has got a lot of things going for it that are actually spec'd better than the SKX range. Moving on to the case is very nice. On the whole, it is just a one-to-one copy of the SKX. Not going to kind of beat around the bush there. However, there is a few subtle differences which I'll get onto when I actually compare the original to this one. Looking at the case back, we have the logo there of the shark, hence the Sharkey kind of nickname for it. We have Sapphire Crystal, stainless steel, NH36 movement there. One thing to take note though is that 200 meter water resistance, which basically says it is not a 200 meter ISO diver, it's basically just 200 meter water resistance. Not going to lie, with the fit and finish and stuff like that, and it's a direct copy of the SKX, no doubt it would achieve that range, but I'm never going to get to that depth. Never. The kit I design and stuff will, plus more, but this watch will never get to that. The bracelet is actually alright. The finish on it is good. I do like the brush finished. All the links are brushed. It is a bit rattly, however I actually find that makes it a bit more softer on the wrist. It actually adjusts the wrist quite well and you don't know it's on. Nowhere near as bad as a Seiko Jubilee bracelet, as some of you might know. It does have a stamped clasp, but for £110 am I going to complain at that? No. If I want to change this bracelet in the future I can, no doubt for a strap code. Few of the things that I don't like about this watch, which are just niggles. First biggest one is the crown. The crown itself seems to pop out quite a way. As you can see there is quite a travel on that crown between you engaging the threads to it being out. Now when I actually mod watches, I try and keep the crown as close in as I can, so you get a pop there so you know it's out, but it's not that far away. And because how far it sticks out, it does wobble quite a lot. There is a lot of wobble there which you don't get with the 007 quite as badly. It doesn't affect the performance of the watch, that's just kind of a little niggle of mine. I would prefer it if the stem had been cut a bit shorter just to stop it travelling out so much. But threading it back in, the thread's alright, it's nice and smooth. no issues there. Also the crown's also signed, which is a very nice touch. The other little niggle is out the box, because it does come in a very nice display box. We had this scratch here, as you can see, quite a deep scratch. I will polish that out, and there is also another quite deep scratch next to the 200 metre water resistance there. As you can see there, it goes through the 2 and around. Not too bothered about that one, because that's just sitting on the back of the wrist, and for £110 I am not going to complain about that. Now comparing it to the SKX, like I say, the case itself is one of the things, because if a modern watch is the biggest thing I want is the case, so I want to know it's kind of very similar to the SKX. Now I'm going to pick up this one. Firstly, the Sharky's brushed finish on the top here is a bit coarser than the one on the SKX. If I just show you there, as you can see, it's ever so slightly coarser, but not much. But the biggest thing is the edges on the Sharky are a lot smoother. They seem to transition between surfaces a lot smoother. Now, as we can see here, just taking this surface here in between the crown guard, smooth transition on the Sharky. If we look on the SKX, yes, it is a smooth transition, but it's a definite transition between that surface and the top surface. I actually prefer the Sharky, just because of that. It does look a tiny bit more refined. Don't know why, it's just personal preference. Some people might actually hate that fact, but I actually enjoy it. So, all in all, this watch is, I've worn it for 3 days, and to be honest, it's very rarely I actually wear a watch for 3 days when I first initially buy it. I normally wear it for 2, then put it off, but this has just been such a good watch and so comfy, I've kept it on. Now, getting back into the whole kind of SKX Sharky kind of argument, like I said, this one here cost me £110 brand new. This one here I picked up a couple of months ago, and this is all original. It's got the Handallr crystal in, it's still got the 7S26 movement in here. I picked this SKX 007 up for £145, and that, to be honest, I actually thought was a fair price. It's in good nick, it had a box and papers as well. But it wasn't new. I can pick up a brand new watch, which, as in the Sharky, which has an NH36 movement in, which, to be honest, at some point I will put in this watch right here. It also has Sapphire Crystal, which yet again I'll put in this Seiko here, which would then basically effectively mean I'm going to be spending maybe another £100+ more on this watch, which, okay, let's just for the whole sake of things say at the end of the day 250-300 quid on the SKX 007, when I can get all of that off the shelf in a Sharky for £110. It just doesn't add up, and I think a lot of it is just brand snobbery at the end of the day. And I know a lot of people are saying, well, they're just outright copying, it's not their own design, yada yada yada, but to be honest, if you look at how many sub kind of homages are out there and how well they are, it's just because the design works and people are picking up on it. It's a comfy design. The SKXs are actually they're going up in price, they're getting a bit harder to find, you know, a decent quality one. You can still buy them, don't get me wrong, but they're not as cheap as they used to be. So, at the end of the day, it is a good buy. You're basically getting an SKX at, well, quite a heavy discount. The only difference is you've basically got slightly different style of dial on it, and also you get a Shark logo instead of a Seiko logo. In my mind, it's just a no-brainer. Now, like I say, you can go all out on the SKXs and do something like this, which is obviously my stealth mod here, which has the NH36 movement, same as the Sharky, has a Sapphire Crystal. Don't get me wrong, it's an AR red domed crystal, but you know, I might have wanted to keep the stock one out of the Sharky in if I needed to. However, I've went quite away with this one, and I've got to have spent, including the watch, around about 500 quid on that watch. It's not a cheap way to do it, and I've actually modded that myself, so if I got somebody else to do that, it would have been even more. So yeah, that's basically where I stand on it. The Sharky is a very good watch, and it's a nice, decently priced alternative to the Seiko SKX. And for somebody walking around on the street and they see it, I think they're going to look at the watch and say, yep, that's a good watch. They're not going to think anything else, and I think it is a very good upcoming brand. So with that in mind, I think I'll leave that there. And please put in the comments what you think of the Sharkies. I do have another one coming. I've got I think it's a Sharky SKX 007, basically direct copy. Well, I say direct copy. It's a more similar copy to this. The only difference is the dial has got slightly different indices on it, but the hands are the same. The chapter rings are the same, so on and so forth. So I'll be looking to actually get that to do a few mods on and just seeing what mods actually fit into the Sharky copy. So I'm going to leave it there. As always, keep safe, subscribe if you haven't, because there'll be a lot more watch videos coming up, and I shall see you soon. Thank you.